So I'm joined by Elliot Elmer, a very good friend of mine who I've known for, crikey, 10 plus years. I don't know how long it's been now,
No,
Elliot. I mean, as I say, we first got involved, didn't we, back in the days of tiny folds, I suppose. And I'll say, I've mentioned it in the question later on about the first time I remember seeing you and the bigger festivals that you did. But we're not here to talk about tiny folds. We're here to talk about
sure.
a new project that you've got sort of bubbling over the surface at the moment. So, let's set the scene. Tell the listeners who you are, where you've been on your musical journey so far, and what you've got in store for us, basically, Elliot. Over to you, mate.
Sure, man. Yeah, so my name's Elliot. I was born and raised in the town of Teignmouth, on the
Mm,
sea on the south
you
coast of Devon,
lucky,
right there.
lucky, lucky bugger, you lucky
Very
bugger.
lucky. Yeah, growing up had a fantastic music scene. It really did, and lots of fantastic people that were surrounded and still exist there today, to be fair.
Mm.
But yeah, I was down there for a very long time. I was involved with music from an early age. My dad was a DJ, and my mum married a DJ, so she had to have good music taste, let's say. So I was I was very much surrounded
All
by
helps.
oh man, I was very much surrounded by some very well known musical people who were able to help shape my ears very well. And I got into playing music at what, about 11 years old, something like that, and played in
Yeah, man.
numerous bands throughout my
Yeah,
my time at school and whatnot. And I think
yeah.
yeah, the first time it took it seriously was, I think, Tiny Folds was 2013. We all probably started with that.
Okay.
Do you
Yeah.
ever remember the Aurora Skies, the band that came before Tiny Folds?
I
The
don't, mate.
Aurora
I
Skies?
remember the name. I don't think I ever saw you, but
Okay.
no, I
That's
think
one for the
my
archives.
Yeah, exactly. That's going way back, isn't it? I think one of the first shows I saw you at was it might have been that Denbury Festival, Glastonbury. Do you remember that? That must have been about
Oh
2015,
my word. Yes, I do.
2014
No,
or 15. It was in a
it was Emma,
tent.
wasn't it? Emma used to, yeah, Emma with
That's
the tent
right.
used to
Yeah,
put it
Emma
on
from
in
Denbury.
Denbury.
That's it. Yeah, that's right. It's a
Yeah,
great little festival,
I
but
think, yeah. So I was with Tiny Folds for like, yeah, for what must have been 2013 to about 2018,
I
and
was
I
going
was
to
like
say it's about
based in that.
5 years.
I was
Yeah,
in that band. That was the band that I was in for ages. You know, I was
yeah,
with those
yeah,
guys
yeah.
for knew those boys for a very long time, and that was
Absolutely.
my main gig. And the thing that
Yeah,
most people will, I mean, I guess from musical bits and bobs will remember me from will be that, to be honest.
yeah,
But yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
always lived it, always been around it. But yeah, no, that Glastonbury was great, wasn't it? Going back
It
thinking
was a
about
nice little local gig, wasn't it? It was all right. It was a bunch of, a couple of bigger names. I think we saw Martha Reeves and Vandellas there
it. Yeah,
one
yeah.
year, and
But I was remember
it
Denbury,
was great.
amazing.
And it's like in
It was
the
always
middle of nowhere in a muddy
that's
field in,
it.
in Devon.
It was
It's
always
like,
really well
man,
supported by the community. You know, Emma ran it. I always remember. I think the first. This is a funny story, and I'm sure that she'll quote me. I'm sure she gave us a slot there one day because I promised her that I'd buy her flowers for giving us a set. I'm sure she did. I'm sure, and I'm certain I did as well. I
is
promise.
that all it
I'll have
took?
to.
Just a bunch of flowers
It
for a
was, and I
headline
turned up with a
set.
bunch of flowers. It wasn't even a headline set. It was like 2 o'clock on a Sunday or something in front of nobody.
Oh man.
It's still
Well,
good memories.
a gig's a gig, mate. Yeah, exactly.
It is.
I was going to say, I remember seeing you at a couple of festivals. I think the biggest one I saw you at, and actually covered it as well, was the Radio One Big Weekend at Powderham in
Yeah.
2016. You were on the BBC introducing stage, sharing the stage with, well, I remember Rosie Lowe. I remember. Oh, goodness me. Who else played on that stage? We covered
That
the whole
lineup.
stage all day, but
We
it was a killer
they
lineup, man. That was great.
they gave us the headline slot because we were like the local band and stuff, and
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
that experience was unreal for
I
all three
know,
of
I
us.
bet. I bet.
So we had the Hunter, Blossoms, Declan
That's right.
McKenna,
The Hunter. Yeah,
all,
that's it.
I mean, Blossoms, both Blossoms and Declan McKenna. We played with Declan McKenna the day before at the Underground, and he actually tweeted about it like a couple of years ago, saying that it was one of the worst gigs he'd ever played. There was like 8 people. There were honestly like 8 people there. Us being three of them because we played the gig as well, and we had a little chat and whatnot. So he was playing the introducing stage the next day with us as well, and
Right,
yeah,
right. Okay.
it was mad, like the lineup and everything. It was an unbelievable
No, it's
experience,
great.
and I think for us as well, looking back on that, like that
Yeah.
was the it was the one gig that we look back on and we were always like, you know, we played so many terrible shows where we drove all the way. We did like
Yeah.
we went and played. I remember there was one in particular. We went all the way to Dover, played to like nobody, argued all the way there, argued in the hotel afterwards, like drove back, argued all the way back. And then
Oh,
we got
jeez.
you know, Radio One and BBC gave us that amazing opportunity to play that show, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it was like it was for us, just such a round moment thing. It was
Yeah.
really was amazing
Uh,
situation.
And I remember seeing a video of you three on a golf buggy, and I think you were shouting at
Yes.
Jess Glynne. Do you remember? And it was like, Jess, Jess, and she wouldn't turn around. She was like being really
Oh
cold, and it
my
was like
goodness.
so funny.
We were
Like, it's Jess
just
Glynne, let's go and get Jess Glynne. I
it,
was like, oh, jeez,
they
just leave her alone, boys.
the whole of the backstage, there was no like none of the stages were like allocated like backstage areas. It was just one free
Just one
for all.
big area. Yeah, that's
And
right. I
I don't know
remember.
if you take 2 minutes to look back on the lineup for that event, it was mental. It
It
was
was a
like
killer.
some
On,
of the acts that played, like
oh,
you had
mate,
on the Saturday,
Coldplay,
it was like on the in New Music We Trust there was like Flume, Stormzy, 21 Pilots, Tame
Biffy
Impala, like
Clyro, Wolf Alice.
Biffy
Yeah,
Clyro, like
I know.
these are all like
Exactly. It was.
unbelievable acts of the highest caliber. And
It was a
like I
mad
think
lineup. Yeah,
we play. I think our set was the same time. We were competing, and this is just like the most mental thing. We were playing at the same time as Chase and Status and Bring Me the Horizon. Like, what
that's
on earth
right.
is that about?
Yeah, I
What
know.
is that
It's
about?
mad.
A
I
little old
think
band from Timoth sandwiched in the middle, like literally in front of in between those two stages.
it was. It really was a who's who. I had a photographer there with me all weekend, and he literally just did two 14-hour days flat out. He was destroyed by the end of it. But I'll tell you what, I think that the quality of photos of the bands that he got that
Oh wow,
weekend
yeah,
is still probably the best one he's ever done, and that was like 9 years ago, 2016. So there you go.
yeah,
It was a
man.
weekend
It'll
and it
be
was
10
beautiful
years
weather.
next May.
I know it's crack, isn't it?
Mental.
But it was really, really good weather. I remember it being really hot, and it was like
Mm,
just perfect, really, in Powdrum and all that. But yeah, what an
unreal.
opportunity to cover that. Now, you also mentioned in your press release a brief tenure with Raining Days, which was,
Yes.
as I remember, Dan Steer and Joe Sansom on drums. Did you replace Johnny on bass then? Did he leave, or what
So
happened? I don't.
it was. I don't know how much I can kind of go into detail about it. Like
Mm,
I can basically summarize what I was told. Like they were signed to Marshall and like Dan. Like it's a deep old story. This with me and Dan. Like I've Dan Steer. I remember growing up in Timoth. Dan being in the Quails, right
that's right.
back in the
Yeah, it would have
day.
been. Yeah,
Like
yeah.
and when I was like 11 or 12 or 13, his band were the big band in the town. And he used to play all the
Mm,
big gigs and I watched them support Muse. Like I saw
that's
on the
right.
Den and
That's
all these
it.
amazing. He was
2009. Yeah,
such
remember
like
that.
he knows this. He'll always know this because like he was a massive role model to me growing up. Like as somebody that
Mm,
I always looked up to, and to get the call because it was
yeah.
Tiny Folds was sort of came to an end in April 2018, and Rainy Days was I literally did the whole summer with them over that 2018 period.
Yeah.
But from what I understand, they had an album that they had recorded. It was just coming out on Marshall Records, and I just think that Johnny just didn't want to do it. He had other commitments.
No.
He joined. I think he joined like a band that was closer to home. It was more suited to his life, and that
Okay.
was just the way it is. And
Yeah.
Dan gave me the call and was like, "We need a bassist, and we need one now. Do
Did
you want
one
to come play some?
yesterday.
Yeah, do you want to come and play
Yeah.
some shows over the summer?" And yeah, like wow, what an unbelievable experience! Like
Yeah, I
they
bet. I bet.
both again working that life circle round moment of getting to play on stage with Dan and
Yeah.
also Joe. Like Joe is honestly, if anyone has ever seen Joe perform in any form of the bands that he's in, that guy is a weapon of mass destruction.
Oh,
Like
yeah, yeah. He's a
not
proper
not
machine, mate. Yeah,
not
proper
just not
machine.
just not just like a machine on the kit, but just like a true professional. Like you see,
Yeah.
like I remember we did Ball Masters and we were setting everything up and he was like getting all his bits down and ready, and me and Dan were like, "Should we go and get a drink or something?" And Joe was just like, "No, no, I'm going to sit here." And he sat there just on the cliff, looking out onto the Cornish coast, just doing his like practicing his rudiments with his
Yeah,
headphones.
yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
"This is a
Wow.
pro. This guy knows what time it is." But
There's
yeah,
you
wow,
down,
what an
down the Rattler
experience!
tent again, about 6 pints in before you
Oh
go
my,
on
yeah,
stage
that's
and
it.
struggle
Down
through.
to the
But
keg and
keg and pasty, yeah,
the
that's the
keg and
one.
pasty.
That's the one.
Good vibes. But no, yeah, it was only that summer that I did it for him. I was no replacement, and
Yeah.
I
Well,
didn't, I wasn't part of any of the creative process, which was fine. Like,
no,
look,
no,
they
no.
they had some
Well, it's
fantastic tracks. Like, they had some great stuff.
yeah.
Walked into this polished machine, basically. I was like, this is wicked. Happy days.
Just learn
Good
the
fun.
tracks and play them live. Yeah,
That
that's
was
all you
it.
need
Yeah,
to
yeah,
do
yeah.
in it. Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Indeed.
So we're not here to talk about the past, Elliot. We're here to talk about the future.
Sure.
Can you say your new project name just so I pronounce it correctly? Is it Jehu?
So I'm saying it Ju.
Jehu.
Ju.
Jehu.
Ju.
Okay, okay. So Jehu spelled Jehu, and the U's got like an omelette thing on
Exactly.
the top of it,
That's
umlaut,
correct.
whatever you call it. It's
On that, I think it is.
Umlaut, umlaut, or you pronounce it. So JU is your new solo project. I want to know a bit more about it, starting with the name. What did it mean? Where did it come from? Is it
The
some
name
sort of
is
Scandinavian
nah.
name or something? Or
I knew that this would be something that would come up at some point, and I'm so glad that I'm getting it over and done with right now. Right,
yeah,
let's
exactly.
let me
Yeah,
talk
get it
about it.
out. Get it out.
So
Yeah.
it kind of chose me in a funny way, and this name has been around for a while. This project was almost taken off about 2 or 3 times, and it's kind of funny because all the graphics and stuff have been used on Festival Pro. I've got a couple of copies that I released later down the line. Of it on posters that it didn't make it on because we didn't end up doing it and other stuff like that. But
Right. Okay.
so this
Okay.
this name has been around for probably about 5 or 6 years now, and it
Okay.
happened. Not five. It is about 5 years. It was lockdown. Happened in lockdown. So
Yeah.
I had this terrible addiction in lockdown of just buying rubbish off the eBay, like just buying absolute cack off eBay. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I bought this job lot of Liverpool shirts, like
Oh,
15
God.
Liverpool shirts, right? And they were like, it was like 60 quid for 15 Liverpool shirts. And I was like,
Nice.
fantastic. Bought them
Yeah.
all. It didn't mention anything about the quality. They came through the post a couple of weeks later, and all of them were unusable, right? Apart from one. All of them had like rips in the sponsorship. They had one. They had
Yeah.
an unusable. They had like number one dad on the back, and all these stuff like this,
Oh,
completely
Jesus,
unusable.
really?
Apart from this one shirt that was pristine. All the front was perfect. The logos, the Premier League crest, all of it perfect. On the
Yeah.
back, it had 7 JEHU. And in my head, the first time that I saw that was
Yeah.
how JU was how I pronounced
Jehü.
it. And
Right.
I
Okay.
just stuck with it. I've still got it now. It's here somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but it just that I just like that's the name. I always liked how Muse had a really small and kind of catchy and easy to remember name, and it wasn't too difficult. And
Yeah.
and I don't know that just reached out to me like that. It's got nothing to do
Yeah.
with. Also, for the record, with everything that's going on in the world right now, it has absolutely no connection to. I think is it the yeah he's a king of something in the Bible
Well,
from
I,
many
I
moons
I I
ago.
did look, and the only meaning I could find of Jehu was a biblical king of Israel, known for his fury at chariot driving and for exterminating the house of Ahab, which sounds very deep, and obviously it's nothing to do with that. So let's
Yeah, of
set the
course.
record
Yeah,
straight now. It's
but
nothing to do with the
absolutely.
biblical king
It
of
was
Israel. So there you go.
absolutely not. No, no, no. It was a football shirt that chose me in an eBay job lot pack.
A
That's all it was.
Liverpool football shirt. So there was obviously a player called Jehu who used
There
to play for
wasn't. There
Liverpool.
wasn't.
Oh,
There
there
wasn't.
wasn't. Oh, sorry, sorry.
I tried to find it. I was like, I thought because it was a shirt, quite a recent one, and I was thinking, I don't remember a number 7 called that. Like they
Must
must
have
be
been
in that.
some kid who bought it, and that was his name, maybe, or something
Exactly.
like that. But
Exactly.
hey, oh, there we are.
Exactly.
That's
But
a
that's where it
brilliant
come from.
story, mate. So, and I wish you all the best of explaining that 15 times over with more
Uh,
promo that you do, and hopefully, if someone asks you, you could just point them to this,
Absolutely.
this interview, and
That's
they'll learn all
that's
the
the
information
point.
about that. So.
Never again. I'm not talking about it again. When the situation's done.
Exactly, exactly. So, Elliot, tell me, Jehu, is it a solo project, but calling upon the assistance of other musicians to help with recording and live performances, or is it you, a one-man band, or tell me a bit more
So
about it?
yeah, and so this essentially, yes, this is the first time I think every band that I've been in over the time that I've been making music, performing on stage, I've always been not a massive contributing factor of the creative side of things in terms of the
Mm,
direction of the actual physical music.
yeah,
With Tiny Folds, Jordan came up with most of the music in terms of the song, in terms of the chord structures and the layout that he wanted to reach, and he'd bring it to us and we develop it and grow it from there. Whereas,
yeah, yeah.
I've never been the person that's really come up with the initial idea, helped choose
Okay.
the kind of chords, and had a topic in which that I wanted to sort of drive on. So
Mm,
this first project, JU, is the first opportunity for me to do that, to tell my stories and to do
sure.
it in a way that is I'm kind of wanting it to be without any boundaries, if that makes sense.
Mm, mm,
Obviously,
mm.
obviously there is a direction in which the music is being driven, but in terms of the way we're looking to do this is that we're hitting it in a studio environment in the next 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah,
Good friend of mine, Eddie Drover, down in Crediton, who's a fantastic producer. We're going to demo the tracks, take them to an environment with a couple of musician friends that you know very well that
yeah,
are
yeah,
within
yeah.
the scene. We'll then develop them a little bit more so from there,
Mm,
and then take them
mm.
to a studio and we'll record it. So essentially, yeah, it's my envision of music with a live
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
accompaniment of musicians band essentially. So
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good stuff. And is it music that you've sort of it's oven ready basically? You've got the basics of the track, you just got to
that's
enhance it and develop it a little bit
exactly that.
further before you lay it down, basically. Yep.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, we've I'm
That's
running
good.
on probably about 8 or 9 ideas of like songs at this very moment in time that are
Okay.
in they're in a good position that are ready to be taken into a studio to develop a bit more. So then I'm
Mm,
looking to take them, like I said, into a rehearsal room, develop
Yeah.
them a little bit more naturally in that respect, and then record them
Yeah, yeah,
properly.
yeah.
So
Oh, exactly.
it
Yeah.
gets
Well, so,
a bit of everything in that respect. So
yeah, exactly. You're certainly giving yourself enough space and time to think about things, and I'm sure the production values will come in, and the other musicians will have some new ideas and things. And I mean,
absolutely
how are you with people sort of suggesting changes to what you may
fine,
have originally? Yeah,
fine,
you're okay with that, are you? To sort of
absolutely
bounce
fine.
ideas around, and yeah, oh, that's
Absolutely
good to
fine.
know. Yeah,
I think the guys that are going to be part of the live project, which are sort of pretty much all there at the moment now, we're just in the moment of just getting these basic demos sorted. They've
yeah,
all been chosen because of their creativeness anyway, and the kind of
sure.
players that they are. You know, like
That's
this
good.
is a really good opportunity to sort of to do this properly. It's difficult when you're in
Mm,
bands sometimes when you're creatively sharing a space with other people because you've got to be married to their lives. You know, you've got to be married to
yeah, of course, of
their
course.
time, their careers, their
Yeah,
love life, everything.
family. Yep, everything. Yeah,
Everything gets mangled in, and it
exactly.
becomes difficult.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's the first time
good.
I've had the opportunity to do this and to push it in this way. So it's
Yeah.
going to be good fun.
Well, exciting times. Well, I look forward to the output. So, which leads me on to the next question. Now, I hate to pigeonhole anyone, artist, band, musician, or whatever, but if you were forced to categorize the sound of jehü, how would you describe it? Who would you liken it to, and what sort of what section of HMV would you find the music in, Elliot?
I think I think the main focus on for this me now for this project was doing things that made me happy and finding a place in music that gets me excited and gets me up in the morning and wanting to play gigs and to get out and make more music. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I kind of honed that right back to the style of music that I was playing when I first started, which is sort of indie,
Okay.
sort of a bit of rock, elements of sort of reggae nowadays in there. There's a bit of the
Mm,
kind of I don't know the best bands to sort of say. I think because this project I'm going to be doing vocals and also playing guitar throughout the
yeah.
most of it,
Okay.
sort of rhythm guitar. I think my playing style is and the sort of music that I play along to and like aim to write like are artists like sort of Sticky Fingers, Ocean Alley, that sort of I don't know Australian indie music
Yeah, I
style.
was
That
going to
is
say
the
that sort
main
of surf rock kind of Aussie West Coast sort of
exactly
vibe. Yeah, I
very laid
get you.
back
Get you.
festival stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe
Nice.
ideas of getting horn sections in and bits and bobs like that. We'll see how that naturally progresses. But
Awesome.
I think
Yeah.
that to me is where I started in music, and I think also
Yeah.
it's definitely the best the best one of the best genres that has that accessibility to be able to add other parts of what I'm into nowadays. You know, like sort of
Yeah. Yeah.
hip hop bits and reggae aspects and all that sort of jazz is very mixable
Yeah.
with that bracket in the middle there. So
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
the aim of it. So
Well, it sounds like you're in the middle of the meter, if you like, and you could go left, you could go right, depending on how it takes you, I suppose. You don't have
exactly,
any sort of set rigid pattern where you've got to sit within the confines of guitar-based indie rock or whatever.
sure.
You can add a bit of reggae in there if you need to, and a bit of hip hop, beats maybe and things like that. But that sounds exciting, man. And I bet you're excited yourself, aren't you? You look like you're
Oh
buzzing.
man, it's been so long. I think it has been 6 years, 7 years. I think
Mm,
since I had this thing, and it's been a roller coaster. Life, you know what happens, man. Life takes
yeah,
over sometimes, and
yeah, of
things just get in the way, and you
course.
just it stops. And I think for me, it's taken a few crises and a few sort of
Yeah.
big life lessons to be faced up against it, where
Mm,
people around me
mm,
have been
mm.
like, you need to do this.
Yeah,
You have to do this for yourself. And being a
yeah,
father now, like I've got a little one that needs to see this. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you don't want to be going back on YouTube and looking at me in skinny jeans when I was 19 years old. That's not cool.
No,
I mean,
nobody
that
needs to
isn't.
see that, Elliot. No,
No,
that's
no.
it. That's it.
And no, I hope nobody else goes and deep dives into the internet to go and find that after this conversation. It is out there
I'll
somewhere.
make sure we post the videos of you at
Oh my word.
BBC One Weekend chasing Jess Glynne down. But
So
that'd be funny. But
I wore espadrilles all of that day. What's wrong with this guy?
Petros.
One of the biggest days of my life, and I wore Toms.
I would just
Crazy.
say different hashtag different times. I would say
That's it.
that'd be the one to go with, mate. But let's move on
Hashtag
swift.
bring them back. Bring
Yeah,
them back.
hashtag fashion disaster. But let's move on
Oh
before
my
we
word.
get caught by the fashion police or anything like that. But so sticking with the music now, Elliot, you're talking about sort of older influences and bands that you sort of grew up with. Give me the names of some of those bands or artists that have really sort of made a mark on you musically, and you want to go out sort of push that music wider.
I think like I don't really listen to Muse much as much these days as I did growing up, but they were instrument
Likewise, yeah, likewise.
they were instrumental in the first like 5 to 10 years of my life in
Mm,
music.
mm,
Being not being in Teignmouth and having not
yeah,
not they played that gig there in 2009, I think it
It
was,
was
and
2009. Yeah, that's right.
nah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
was there. Yeah,
just I was there also, and just
yeah,
being
yeah,
around
yeah,
that sort of buzz and knowing that it could happen for a band in a town as tiny as that if you know work it all out properly. And their
yeah,
music these days, it's not doesn't capture me as it used to do. You know, their old stuff, their first 4 or 5 albums is just unbelievable stuff. But
yeah. Indeed.
not to say that their music actually influences the sort of stuff that I want to write now, but you know,
No,
the
no,
way
no.
their delivery very much so. But
I
definitely, yeah.
think I'm on the same side of the fence with you. I think their first three albums were phenomenal. I think
Mhm.
from there they sort of started moving into a bit of a mold that I didn't really sort of agree with. When they went into the full-on sort of space rock kind of thing, I stepped away a little bit. I didn't mind it, but I think my favorite album has got to be Origins of Symmetry. I mean that is
Yeah,
just perfect. You know, Newborn Bliss. You've got
yeah.
oh man, there's just so many songs on there, and obviously Absolution as well. I saw them on
Yeah,
tour
Absolution.
probably up until the Resistance, I think it was called, the fourth or fifth
Yeah, it
album
was
after Black Holes.
two
But
thousand and nine. That was
that's
it.
right, it
That
was.
was
It was the same year that came out, wasn't it? But yeah, I mean, what I've seen them all over. We saw them at Wembley on the
insane.
first band that played at Wembley. Saw them in Manchester a couple of times, obviously in Timoth. But we used to watch them years and years and years ago. In fact, we put a gig on in 1992 up at the Meadows Centre. So if you go to the Broadmeadow
Wow.
Sports
Yeah,
Centre,
yeah,
walk
yeah.
up the steps around the
Up
back
the
as if you're going
hill,
to
it's on.
Kingsway
Yeah, yeah. I
Shops.
know exactly where it
You
is.
know where the little shelter
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
and we put a gig
I
on
know
there.
exactly where
They
it is.
they weren't even Muse. Matt was in Gothic Plague. Chris and
Love
Don
it.
were in Fixed Penalty, and I've got the flyer at home. I was dishing out flyers. It was 1992. It was bloody freezing. It was December. It was a Christmas party. It was £1 to get in. I remember there was a guy called Scott on the door. He used to work at the Broadmeadow Sports Centre, and they were just playing like Clash covers and Ned's Atomic Dustbin, a couple of Nirvana covers, and that was about your lot, you know. But it's just happy days. They get me out times we saw them down at the Jigsaw Bar in the Ivy House Hotel as well in Northumberland Place. That's no longer there. That's a block of flats now. But you know, it's like you tell people and they're like, nah, you never. Honestly, we used to watch. There was about 8 people in there jumping around at the front, some woman in the corner doing the knitting. There's me and my mate trying to have a
Yeah.
quiet drink, and these bloody lads just racking it all out. But yeah, to see a band like that from a small town reach the level of stardom that they have is pretty epic, isn't it? So yeah,
It's for
indeed.
me as well. It's they've done that via writing. Like you said, man. Origin of Symmetry
Yeah.
is a
Oh, it's a
masterclass.
masterpiece. It really is. Yeah, it really
And then
is.
Absolution after it, you know, in
Yeah.
my opinion, even better. You know,
Yeah.
gave him a
Yeah.
chance to
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
a bit more serious, a bit more moody, a bit more
I
kind of
think,
dark
yeah,
in
they were
time.
certainly a
Like
bit braver. That they got they got the big boots on after that, I think, and you know, with the
headline Glastonbury and everything from that point,
yeah,
wasn't it?
that's
Game
right.
on.
Yeah, that's it. That's
Yeah.
it. So yeah, fair play to them. But there we are. Now, would you say that you've found the sound for jehü, or are you still looking or constantly seeking new and fresh ideas to try? Is your mind open to new ideas and interpretations? Or
I think like this this whole thing I've been looking for and achieving are two like very different things in my head. And I've been trying to look for something for so long that I've not been able to achieve because it might not be something that I'm actually capable of doing, if that makes sense.
right? Yeah, yeah,
So it's not, you know, I think we'll see how it goes in the next couple of months getting these songs like finalized. And I think there's many options in ways that this can go, in ways of the ways it can look, the ways that it can sound. I'm
mm,
just super excited to just get it back out there and just see how it
yeah, yeah,
goes.
yeah.
I've got lots of
Totally.
ideas for the long term of it, but like right now we've
Yeah.
got like a. I mean, what even is an EP anymore? I was having a conversation with someone the other day. What like, in all honesty, we'll probably end up releasing. We've got like an 8 track release probably next year,
Yeah.
middle of the year. I want to call it an EP, but I don't think it will be. But we'll cross that
Well,
bridge when we
you've
get to
got
it.
options, haven't you? I mean, I won't talk
Yeah,
too much about it now, but yeah, a couple of questions down the line, we've got something about what's in the future. But no, let's keep it the questions at the moment there. So plenty of stuff on the way, basically, and
yeah. We're all good.
enough material to at least get you a nice festival set, you know, and you can get out and play some songs there. Now, just want to take you back to when Tiny Folds came to an end. I mean, you admitted on your press release you had quite a tough time, dealing with it, coming to an end. Very abrupt sort of stop on there. Quite an amicable split, but you obviously received counselling and therapy. What kind of
Mhm.
things did you work through in those sessions, Elliot? What was it more about the way you were feeling, your mental health, or what? Just yeah, what was the sort
It
of
was it
concept?
was it. it's mad because like the Tiny Folds breakup was fine, you know. It was
Mm,
we'd done it for so long. The boys, both Tom and Jordan, had been in a band before Tiny Folds together,
yeah.
and Tom just wanted to just settle down with his missus, and they had
Mm.
been together probably longer than the band had been together. So but she had been part of the process this whole time. So
Yeah, yeah,
for us as like essentially brothers, it was we had we supported him in that, and we still
yeah.
support him to this day in it. And the family's thriving, they're living the life, so happy for him.
Good. Yeah, it's
We
nice.
we have that absolutely no bad blood whatsoever between the
Yeah,
three
yeah,
of us. Like it
yeah,
was just the only thing was it just didn't work out for me because I lived in a very small town in Teignmouth and
yeah,
in a small
yeah.
community. And when I was working a bar job that was going really well and it was helping me balance the two lives, and it just
Mm,
didn't happen.
mm,
And obviously that was the end of that. I ended up having to go through counselling and whatnot, which was
mm.
good because it needed to come to acceptance from it. And that's something that I never
Yeah,
really accepted, that it came to an
yeah,
end.
yeah, 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 yeah.
When you're in that small environment and you've got people asking you all the time how it was going and if it was still
Mm,
happening because
mm.
they're unaware of what was going on, because we didn't
Yeah.
really make it very public. I don't think we ever like officially split as a band. we
No,
just we just faded out, do you know what I
just
mean?
drifted
So
apart. Yeah,
exactly.
exactly,
So
exactly. Mm.
I found it very difficult to come to terms with that wasn't who I was anymore. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Or
yeah. No,
that
that makes
part of my
sense.
life wasn't happening.
Yeah.
Um, and it killed me. It killed me really badly. I spiraled into lots of dark places, and
Mm.
still finding the effects of that even very recently. Hence
Yeah.
why I'm in a position where I've had to drag myself from the ashes and make this
Yeah.
happen. So, but yeah, a lot of
Resurrect.
topics coming from experiences of just
Yeah.
having to get and deal with it. But no, I'm very lucky at the moment. I've got some amazing people around me that are
Yeah,
really
yeah, yeah.
helping and protecting and supporting me taking this forward to the next steps. So
I think that's what it's all about, having that strong support network and family and loved ones around you to just chat it through, talk it through. I think they say a problem shared is a problem halved, isn't it? You know what I mean? I think so many people are, campaigns about, male mental health and things like that, are bottling it all up. I know I can't cry, it's weak. I don't want to appear weak and things like that. Whereas sometimes you basically just want to just fucking get it all out in the open and let it all go. It's a wonderful thing to share sometimes, and I think is more people took on that sort of approach, I think they'd be much happier and yeah, cut certain rates that we don't really want to see anymore. So yeah, good stuff. Well, glad it's worked for you, and I'm glad you've come
thank
through
you,
it,
man.
a stronger person. But would you say that the project was the result of these therapy sessions, or is it more a case of the time just being right to launch the project, Elliot? Obviously, you're
I,
talking about it sort of in your mind for quite a few years, but did it sort of come out of the therapy sessions? You thought, yes, I'm going to do it. Fuck it, I'm going to get on and do it, basically. And
yeah, I think this where I am now, it was a moment of an ultimate low,
mm,
maybe 2 or 3 months ago, a really serious incident in my life that put a crossroads in front of me that was like, I have to do this now.
yeah,
If I don't do this now, I'll never do it. And I
right.
at the time of this interview, I turned 30 tomorrow, and I always said to myself that if I didn't have this in the bag or at least running by 30, then I'd have to just kill it and move on.
Yeah,
Not
yeah, yeah,
and
sure.
there's always been that thing in the back of my head since the Tiny Fold stage that one day I could do this and that I was meant to do this and that it was
Mm,
always something
mm,
that I was ready to do. And I
yeah,
just confidence and life and people that surround you and
yeah,
decisions you make, so many things counter into the way that you affect every day. And when you don't feel yourself, why would you want to get up and pick a guitar up and stand there
exactly.
and put your feelings on a pedestal? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I'm just
No,
very lucky that
exactly.
those people have pushed me in the right direction, and I'm ready to go. Let's do this.
Glad for it. Yeah, exactly, exactly. Which takes me back to the question that we talked about a moment ago. So you say about of the next 6 months or so, you're planning on working on your debut material as the project as jehü. So you got about 8 tracks on there. So you said about what is an EP. Yeah, you're right. I don't know. I mean, where does an EP bleed into a mini LP? 8 tracks, depending on the length of them. I suppose you could put out a 4-track EP, give it a few months, play that, promote that, and then stick another one out, I don't know, towards the end of next year or something like that. And then have that and, start working on an album from there. But hey, I'm just a music journalist. What the hell do I know? It's like,
We're gonna just see what happens with it. I think, like I said,
exactly. Yeah.
I think, like I say eight tracks. Those are
Yeah.
in some of them are like 15, 20 seconds ready to be made into 3 minutes, and some of them are
Right, right.
95% ready to go. But I
Yeah,
think
yeah, yeah.
this first release, that whatever it will be as a concept, is pretty much there. I know
Yeah.
what it needs to be, where it's laid out, the topics that need to be spoken about.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. Sure,
it's just
sure.
about getting them finalized now. So
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly. No, sounds good. Well, it's exciting stuff, mate. You also mentioned some festival shows booked for 2026. Are you in a position to be able to share when and where these are taking place, or is it still a bit sort of,
I
no, fair
cannot,
enough, mate. That's what I
unfortunately.
thought would be
I
cheeky and
can't.
ask, but
But no, no, no. But they are great. They are
are
great.
they?
I'll tell you. I would tell you off air. I
All
cannot tell
right.
you on
No,
air,
that's fine. We
unfortunately.
won't have it on the record
Um,
yet. You can tell me
I,
off air and I'll know, and then we
but
can.
no, very exciting. One
Yeah.
thing that where I am at the moment in my life with this whole project is I'm very blessed and lucky that I've met so many amazing people through playing
Mm.
music like yourself
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that are just are willing to give a chance and have a chat and to do
Yeah,
these kind of things. What
absolutely.
I'm like we're
Yeah,
doing
that's
now,
it.
and
Why
I'm
not?
very
Yeah.
appreciative of all of these people like yourself that are able
Yeah.
to do this and give us this. So yeah, that it is. It's coming. It's coming. It is happening.
Right.
I
So
can't ramble too much about it.
watch this space. I'm sure it'll be on Jehu's socials in the very near future on there. But where is the best place to get involved with you and keep up to date with happenings then? Have you got the social sorted out yet, Elliot, or are you still in the process of
Yeah. The only one that I'm running on Instagram is must be Jehü at must be Jehü.
so must
MU
be
must
JEHU, yep.
That's it. That's the Instagram
Right.
handle that I'm
Must
using
be
for
JU.
all of this stuff.
Okay.
I'm utilizing that as a way of updating everything that happens over the next,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
along with a Facebook with the same tag and whatnot as well. And
Yeah.
not I'm not really on board with X or Twitter, whatever it's called these
Oh,
days.
mate, the more you have, the more time you have to bloody, spend just updating everything. I mean, I think back in the days of Facebook, Twitter,
Oh my goodness.
Instagram, I think these days most people are on Instagram only, maybe a bit of TikTok for some live video updates and teasers and things. But I don't understand TikTok. It scares me. I just don't really get
Don't.
involved with it anymore. It's a bit,
I've got an ex-partner and a brother that are both very famous on it, and I just don't understand it. I'll
oh,
never understand
really? Okay. What do
it.
they do?
Ever.
Are they musicians or
I,
just influencers or what?
influencers, whatever that
Yeah.
means in the modern day, whatever that means.
Who are they influencing? I've no idea, but yeah, they're probably making bucket loads of cash from doing it. But there you go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is a funny old world we live in these days, I must say.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. It's a very fickle, especially the music industry. It doesn't get any
Oh
better.
my.
But I mean,
I,
as I'm getting older, I'm 53 now. I was 53 in July, but it's like I look back and I think all the bands that I've worked with and helped,
mhm,
and like you know what I mean. We've worked together in the past in the last sort of
for
10,
sure.
12 years. It's great. And to see you coming through what you've come through, coming out the other side with a real positive attitude is quite refreshing. I watch bands go from relative obscurity, playing places like the Underground and Mutley Plain, the Cavern in Exeter, little sort of grassroots venues which are instrumental to cutting their
For
teeth
sure.
on the live circuit and things. And then you see them coming back and they're playing like Plymouth Pavilions and the Academy tours and bands like Fontaine's DC and Idols and things that you really were there
I
from day one, and it's mad. And
I was
music,
there at their
yeah,
lemon. Were you there at their Lemon Fest pre-party thing that they
Lemon
did?
Fest in Newton Abbot on the
It was
racecourse. Yes, I was there,
they
mate. That was about
it
2015
was
or 16, I think. It was
no, no they Idols played at Exeter Phoenix for a Lemon Fest party. It was Idols, Moriarty, and
oh,
Dead Ground,
yes, sorry, mate. It
and
was. It was Ollie
and,
and Ed, wasn't it,
and
from
there
Dead
was like
Ground?
there was like
Yeah.
15 people there,
There
20
wasn't many
people
people. It
there.
was meant to be at the Cavern. It was meant to be
It
over the
was.
road at the Cavern, but as the Cavern had the fire, they couldn't host it there. But yes, you're right, because what was the name
Oh
of the
my
Lemon
word, I
Fest
forgot.
organizer? What's the name? Is it
Matt
Dan?
Matt
Matt.
Fremantle.
Matt
Matt
Fremantle,
Fremantle.
thank you. Yeah, so he got me onto them. He said, "What are you doing on like Thursday night?" And I remember going on the stage after they'd finished. In fact, I remember walking in, and all I remember is I say watching Dead Ground, brilliant. Watching
Wicked
Moriarty,
band. What a
epic
band
as
they
all.
were.
Oh, mate, they were fantastic, weren't they? Have you seen their new band, Big Lava?
Indeed.
Yeah, you're a
Indeed.
big fan of them, but yeah, big them
Fantastic,
up on
man.
there as well. Give them some love. But I remember just before Idols came on, Joe Talbot came out and he was just pacing up and down the stage. And I had a photographer there, and the photographer was like, "He looks like he's going to either kick off in a minute, or he looks proper angry." And that
Yeah.
was the day when the debut had, I don't even think Brutalism had been released. It was like, literally
No.
the tour was to promote the debut record, but. What a show. And I remember afterwards I was on stage and they were packing their own instruments down and unplugging everything. And I just chatted to Mark Bowen, the guitarist. He was really, really nice, proper,
Yeah.
Belfast boy. It was amazing. But yes, I remember that gig, that gig well. But yeah, that's right. The
I
Lemon
remember going
Fest.
to it and just being like, yeah, them watching them and it just being this incredible car crash. Like
Yes,
it
it
was just
was.
like
It was
it
like
was like
what has just
that was
happened. Yeah.
amazing. I loved every second of that, but I don't really understand what just
No,
happened. Like
I'll tell you what, it's only happened to me about 3 or 4 times. And I think I watched Sleaford Mods over at the Cavern in like
mm,
2014, 2015. And I went to the show, didn't know what to expect. I've seen a couple of the bits on YouTube, and it was like angry poetry with some bloke smoking a big hooner, drinking a can of Red Stripe behind his laptop on a milk crate, just standing there dotting around, having a little dance while the other bloke was just going absolutely mental on the microphone. And there was a mosh pit there, and I'm like, how the fuck can you mosh to music like this? And it was just crazy. And I,
they're like,
I
watch
came
me,
out
we're
of that
doing
and I
it.
was like, that was a moment. I was like, wow, that just happened. I was there. It was but yeah,
Cavern has those indie nights, don't they? They've had
oh
so
mate.
many of them.
Oh Christ, have
I've not seen, but I've seen posters for like 1975 play there, for Royal Blood
yeah,
play there, for
that's
like
right. Yeah, yeah.
bands that are on that circuit just before they make the big boy jump. Like
I
it's
don't know if you
crazy,
remember, but Coldplay actually supported Muse there in about
mental,
2000, 2001. Muse got the
mental,
headline, and obviously Coldplay, because of Chris Martin's links with Exeter. His mum
mental.
and dad used to run the little motorhome thing on the roundabout down by the services, so that was his mum and dad's business. But yeah, there we go. But no, there we are. So less than a minute to go, Elliot. So we're gonna have to wrap up. But it's been a pleasure
Done it.
talking to you. I think we've
Thank
covered
you
everything
so
we need to
much.
cover. We'll keep an
Yeah,
eye
yeah.
on your Instagram and Facebook. Must be JU, MUSTBEJEHU. Let's do this again soon. Let's wait until the new material's out and we can have a chat, maybe do a bit of a deep dive into a couple of the tracks and we can get a bit more involved in that. But in the
Absolutely.
meantime, it's been great catching up with you, mate. Thanks for your time and look forward to getting this interview out and hopefully sharing it with the community and hopefully answer the question as to where the name Jehu came from.
Thank you so much for having me, Steve. It's been an
No worries,
absolute
Elliot.
honor.
Pleasure,
Thank you so
pleasure
much,
talking
bro.
to you, mate. I'll see you soon.
Thank you, mate. Take care.
Cheers, mate.
Big love.
Take care.